Hello, everybody. Lifebook community members. My name is Mark Brainerd. I'm our character champion, and I'm very pleased today to welcome two of our esteemed Lifebook members, William Gottliebson and Eric Ferguson, who have volunteered an hour of their time to share some of their knowledge and wisdom around the topic of letting go. The title of this event is called Letting Go of Who You've Been to Become Who You Want to Be. It's based on a book by what is his Hawkins, right?
David
Hawkins.
David Hawkins wrote a book. I checked out his bio in recent days. There it is. I checked out his bio in recent days, and I don't think I've ever seen a more impressive list of credentials. I had to scroll through 3 screens to get through all the things he's done and awards he's been given, and it's pretty impressive stuff. So we're going to get into the next hour. I think it's going to be premised around 2 things. A process by which you can sort of let go of a former identity that might have you constrained, and how to embrace a life vision that you want to go after. So these 2 gentlemen will do a much better job explaining it than I just did. So I'm gonna turn it over to you guys and let you go.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I gotta say, before we just go any further, thank you, Mark, for helping us out. We appreciate that so much. That is, he helped us with putting it out, and this is my first time putting an event out like this, so that is super helpful. So thank you so much, and check out his events if you haven't. They are great. Letting go, this book, I mean, we're trying to condense the knowledge and the wisdom in this book into 1 hour, which is kind of taking on a big task, I would say. It's not the easiest task in the world, but we're going to do our best. We're setting the intention that you will get a lot of value out of it from the way we present it. And we're making it 2 parts. So the one part is the letting go part. And we're going to apply that to the character category of finding what's holding you back. Like, what's the old version of you that you need to let go of so that you can allow yourself to become more of the life vision version of you. So that's the second part that we're going to go into. So hopefully you get out of this with a newfound sense of clarity in what's holding you back and the kind of person you will become once you've achieved your life vision. And of course, learning the technique, which is, it is definitely going to start a process for you that probably won't be finished by the end of this call. So you're probably going to take it with you moving into after this call. So we're going to do our best job to explain it in the best possible way so that there's no uncertainty about how to use this technique. Eric, do you want to add something to that?
I think it's simple in the fact that talking about what we need to let go of and then what we need to cultivate to become the person we want to be and to create the life vision that we're all attaining to create. So I think so. A little bit about me personally, and then I can hand it back to you, Will. I think, obviously my bio's on there, but personally, I've been an athlete, focused on, world travel, done a lot of meditation, yoga, and a lot of that has been centered towards training my mind and training in myself into the person I want to be. And through different processes, it started as an athlete, then it was deep into meditation and yoga and seeing other cultures and stuff like that. But my biggest purpose here today and in life in general, I came about was that my life is about the happiness of all the beings. My life is about service. And so I intend to provide value that I've gained through traveling, through studying yoga in India, through other world travels, Nepal. I've been a teacher in Africa and Botswana. And so my intention is to provide value through the letting go technique as well. So that's a little bit about me. Go ahead, William.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we have a few slides. I could just say a few things about myself before I start sharing the screen. I mean, I'm very passionate about personal development. It started from being in a very bad place in my life where I didn't take responsibility. And then I realized that I need to make a shift. And I got hooked after I found these resources. And I would say one of the resources that made the biggest impact on me was this book. I mean, I was mentioning it to a few people and they bought it as well. And then they recommended it to some others. And yeah, it just got the ball rolling. And I don't know how many ended up buying it because of that. But I'm happy to see that people got the same type of shift in their life from that. And then obviously I got into Lifebook, and that was also big. Currently, what I'm mostly working with is teaching in youth school. So I'm very passionate about learning how I can teach better and take what I've learned and give that to others as well, so that they can also have that kind of transformation in their own life, whatever that means to them, of course. I'll start sharing my screen here. Hopefully it runs smoothly. Oh yeah, you're gonna get a sneak peek on are you getting them up now?
It's coming.
It's still black here. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah, PC is
Okay.
loading a bit.
All right.
You got it up?
Yep, you're good.
Nice. This is the first picture. Yeah, I made most of the slides, and I put in some pictures of some of my trips. And this is from Northern Lights, as you can see. I live in Northern Norway in Tromsø. So got some pretty cool pictures in there. I do some split boarding as well. And yeah, going on trips, it's just amazing. There's two parts: letting go of who you were, and the second part is becoming who you want to be. I put in some pictures there about me. I already did a bit of an intro. So here you see me on the National Day in Norway on the left, and the other one is on an island called Senja around here. Awesome trips. Here's some pictures of Eric. We were just a little late to jump in here, but yeah. Two parts, like I said. First part is letting go of who you've been. The second part is becoming who you want to be. So the life vision version of you. So the intention is to learn how to let go by learning the letting go technique taught in the book and apply it to release whatever reason. So pay off, charge you have for staying where you are or not fully going for your life vision without holding back. And what's at the core of the purpose of who you truly want to be? What kind of character traits does the person who has already accomplished your life vision have? So hopefully you get more of a sense of clarity in what that is. Hopefully you already have a good level of clarity in this from the Lifebook process. So for sure you already started thinking about this. So the intention here is that you go even deeper. Like, what is that one character trait you need to integrate to become more of that person who has achieved your life vision? And that's the thing. It's not about what we get. It's about who we become by achieving these goals. And so applying the letting go technique, of course, you can use it in so many ways, in so many categories. So we're just using that one example here and applying it to letting go of who you've been. So we're going to dive more into that and also into the technique. This is Eric's slide, so you can take this one, Eric.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So kind of two main questions. So what we're going to start off with is a little engagement. We want you guys to write in the chat. What is, first of all, first question, what is the character trait you most need to let go of to become that which you see in your life vision? So everybody in the chat right now, we're going to take about a minute and 30 seconds, a minute. I want you guys to start typing what's that character trait that you guys need to let go of first. And, might not come up right now. It might be over the next hour or in the next week. But if you have something that comes up, go ahead and feel free to type it in the chat.
Yeah.
So we have living in the past, attachment, impatience, fear, carelessness, critical of others, block myself with fears, self-indulgence, procrastinating, get sidetracked, frustration. Awesome. What others think of me, they only see what I was, not what I have become. Quitting too easily, self-doubt, negativity and fear, victim, protector. Awesome stuff. Less thinking, more doing. Beautiful. So that's what we can first let go of, right? We all have these blocks. I know for me, in particular, it's taking too much on. It's being non-essential instead of focusing on what I really need to do and trying to do too much. That's what I'm working on letting go of. Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for adding in. So the next question is, okay, what is the most important character trait you need to cultivate to become that which you see in your life vision? So what are you going to replace that a negative character trait with a positive character trait? What is that character trait? Go ahead and type it in the chat. Beautiful. And we'll see a lot of these come up later in our slides as well. So this is good stuff. Abundance mindset, perseverance, trust, brave, positive, fearlessness, living my future self, empathy, trust in the process. I'm working on that. Faith in myself, always working on that. Self-discipline, focus, humility, love, discipline, self-control. Self-discipline, that's a big one, right? Self-confidence, focus. So many here. Empathy and positive self-esteem, upvote, courage. From Dave. Thank you guys so much. That's beautiful. Awesome. So you guys are now aware, you've brought it to the forefront, right? What you're letting go of character trait wise and what you're going to replace. Awesome. So we can move on, Will. Go ahead.
Beautiful stuff. Thank you for sharing. This is what's going to be the focus of this session. So you have this one trait now that you want to let go of, and we're going to explore how that comes up in your body, how it manifests in the body, so that you can sink into the feeling of that and apply the letting go technique to that trait that is holding you back. And then also we're going to do some work on the parts of integrating that new trait. We're even going to do a meditation. I'm going to say it later. You shouldn't be like driving or anything while we're doing that. So I'm going to mention that again. I don't want any of you like crashing or anything. Yeah. So it's from this book. David Hawkins here on the side. He's passed now. I'm not sure when. It's a few years back. But this book, I mean, this book changed my life. It gave me that technique to it gives you a tool really that you can use throughout your life to handle everything that comes at you with grace. There's one slide with a picture of a mighty free-flowing river and one with a clogged up river. And I think that explains it very well. A person who is either letting go or a person who is resisting and holding on. So the version of you that is like holding on and not letting go clogs up that river. So the process of letting go is a process of opening that river up, letting it flow more freely. Kind of like a dam, and you have all the water that accumulated, and you're not supposed to like rip the dam apart and everything is just, that would be too much, right? You would be overwhelmed by all of that. So the idea is to open it gradually, a bit more and more. And over time, it's just flowing freely. So yeah, it looks like it's lagging a little bit. Hope it's not lagging for you guys. Yeah, there's a lot of reviews. A lot of people have written a lot of good things there. So it's not just life-changing, like it was life-changing for me. And I know it was for a lot of other people as well. Just people I talked to and also just seeing the reviews. So Next slide is why learn to let go. There's a lot of benefits. One of them is you can let go of that old version of you so that it's not holding you back. You don't feel more of that need to hold on to that anymore, right? So become who you want to be. That's the first point. Emotional freedom is kind of like nothing sticks. Nothing sticks to you. Someone can throw something into the river, but because it's flowing freely, it doesn't stick. You're not affected by it that much. So things can happen. You can have all this noise in the world, but it's not going to get clogged up just from those things being thrown in there. Raise your level of consciousness. I have a slide from, so he has these calibrated levels of consciousness. We're going to go through them to explain more how the difference between either letting go or holding on. Better relationships, because you're not holding on to grudges, you're better at forgiving, you will process your emotions much better, which is just beneficial in so many ways. Like I skipped over release resistance. This one is, I mean, you will have more energy, you will feel clearer, you will have more vitality. It's really good. And healthy self-esteem, high self-confidence. Like me, I was saying to Eric before this call, like, oh, there were more people than I expected who were clicking that they're going. And I was starting to get a little nervous, but also excited. But then I just remember like, hey, I know the letting go technique. And I'm kind of just observing this. I'm just feeling whatever's there without resisting it. And it doesn't really stop me from doing a good job, if that makes sense. So living in the present instead of regretting the past or fearing the future. So I was talking to Eric before this call. It's kind of like you have to use consciousness. You can't use the mind to let go. You can't use your ego to let go. So imagine it's a letting go club and there's a door guard and he only lets through whoever is ideal for you letting go. And consciousness shows his ID card, he gets let in. And then the mind comes, shows his ID card, no, you can't pass. And then the ego comes, shows the ID card, sorry, can't pass. So they're standing on the outside, let me in. And then consciousness is inside the club, dancing, having fun, right? The letting go club. Only consciousness gets through there. Mm-hmm. Manifesting your dream life. This is, I mean, we're not going to go too deep into that, but it's definitely helpful in stepping into your life vision in all of these categories. You're going to see that more and more. Letting go or resisting, there's a difference here. It's important that you understand the distinction between letting go and just wallowing in negativity, for instance, because you're supposed to embrace it. You're supposed to allow it to be there without wanting to change it. It's important that you're not putting your mind into it, like coming up with a story about why you're feeling what you're feeling, that you're actually just allowing yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. What are the sensations that it brings up? Usually I feel something in my belly. I have a lot of feelings that come up in my gut center. Maybe it's a bit different for you. It could be like a bodily tension or however it shows up. This is the thing. You have to move it to the level of, I'm going to see if I can find a slide for this one. So this is the calibrated levels of consciousness. You have to move it up from these levels, which are on the force side, up to one of the consciousness levels of power. Mm-hmm. I used the metaphor, I came up with a metaphor you can use, like you're in a hot air balloon and you're putting on a lot of that heat to try to make it go up, but you have a lot of sand holding it down. You have all these bags of sand attached with ropes to the sides and it's weighing it down. And you're just standing there trying to put more heat up to make it lift. But then you don't know that you have this knife in your back pocket, like you didn't even know it, right? So it's kind of like this. You learn the letting go technique. Oh, you have this knife in your back pocket, right? You take it out. You start to cut off these ropes. And suddenly you don't need to use that much effort anymore. In that way, you will ascend up in the consciousness levels, moving yourself into the levels that have a healing effect on these emotions, the levels which it's kind of like you're coming there from that level of consciousness, right? Looking at, for instance, the fear from a level of courage, where you have the courage to feel whatever is in there, right? When you just feel the sensations of it without putting a story on it, without labeling it, now you're letting go, right? So just to show you that one real quick, that was here. So just a few differences: allowing versus resisting, acceptance versus regret, power versus force. That was from the scale. Forgiveness versus holding grudges. I can versus I can't. So I can show you this on the scale. I can't would be apathy on 50. And then I can is on courage. So these statements have a consciousness calibration, just as people have, emotions have, everything has a consciousness calibration. Peace versus anger. It could also be like love versus anger, freedom versus confinement, love versus hate. Can you actually love what you're feeling? Like accept it for what it is? Now you're letting go. Focusing on the positive versus wallowing in negativity. So usually there's a payoff in the negative feeling, in holding on to it. Let's say in that trait you were mentioning, there's something in there, right? There's something there that you get something out of holding on to it. Let's say it's staying safe within your comfort zone. Let's say it's for me, I'm very much focused on authenticity in my life right now. And authenticity implies that you can't hide. It implies that you can't like hold back and hide your true self. But hiding my true self has some kind of a payoff, right? It has a payoff of staying safe within my own skin, and I don't need to expose myself to the world. But then I went on one of the episodes on Eric's podcast, and that was, wow, I was sharing some things in there that I haven't said to people at all. And I think, like, Eric, how many people had listened to that so far?
Close to 100 people.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, this is crazy for me, right? Because I was sharing some really vulnerable things in there, and I would think that people could be like, this is like, they would judge that, right? Because I was talking about some really dark moments in my life when I was hitting rock bottom. But then the people I met, like I teach in youth school, and some of them listened to it, and they came up to me and they were like shaking my hand, like, this was really good, man. This really helped me. Your podcast was awesome. And I'm just like, wow, super cool. But not having shared that would have been like, I would have stayed comfortable in my shell. So I actually had to let go of that. Just as with this thing, like it would have been comfortable to just like postpone it until infinity, right? That I wouldn't have to step out there and actually expose myself in this way. But that's the thing I need to do. That's the thing I know I need to do to step into that life vision version of me. Here's a picture of that river, so you get more of like an image of it. Of course, you had like you're producing the pictures as I speak as well, of course. How to let go. Do you want to take this one, Eric?
Yeah, so you go back to that last slide of the river.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, I want to read a little passage from one of my favorite books that's directly related to letting go. It's Chakra Healing and Karmic Awareness. I actually read it a couple of years ago when I was traveling. But yeah, so I'll just start with this passage. For a moment, imagine that you're in a theater, the sole spectator of a movie that you wrote, produced, directed, and in which you star. Now imagine that after a while, you become so engrossed in the film and the character you were playing that you forgot who you were and began to identify with the part you were playing on the screen. Eventually, you might become so immersed in the thoughts, feelings, and sensations elicited by the events and characters in the movie that the movie might become more real than the real world. Now imagine that your attachment to the part you were playing and the events on the screen became complete. If the character you were playing were threatened, you'd react with fear. If your character was rescued, you'd be relieved. If you lost what you loved, you would become despondent. If you regained it, you become elated. In time, the very idea of breaking out of the illusion would be rejected as an act of self-destruction. So you would do nothing. You would remain attached to the events on the screen, living an illusion that you'd become convinced was real. Even if you had momentary doubts, the testimony of the individual mind and the ego and your attachments to the other actors would become convincing testimony that the dream was real. In truth, that is the human condition. Human beings identify so strongly with the character that they're playing, as well as the sensations, feelings, and thoughts that they are associated with it, that they've forgotten that the movie of their mind, which they experience through their senses and process, isn't real. They have forgotten that they're not only the creator of the movie, they're all the characters, including the character they've been playing on the screen. Last part here. I know it's a little bit long. Last part. Now imagine that after identifying with the character on the screen, you once again remembered that the movie wasn't real, and you no longer chose to identify with the character and the thoughts, feelings, and sensations that supported it. By withdrawing from the effect, the movie, and returning to the cause, the self, you would once again remember who you really were. You would remember that you were in fact the producer, director, and everything else that became the movie, as well as the self from which it all emerged. So overall, what this passage is saying to me is that letting go and detachment is the way towards becoming our best self, towards becoming our highest self. So when we are attached to outcomes, emotions, and feelings, our river is clogged up, right? Our river is clogged up. Our mind is narrowed. We're focusing on the identity, the individual self. We're so attached to achieving things that we don't realize that we are much, much more than just this individual self. We are divine consciousness. And so when we can open up this free-flowing river of letting go, then we can realize we are much more, and we can direct this river towards our life vision and where we want to go, and let the river take us there. So the technique of letting go is to realize that you are much more than just this individual self. And once you let go and you let emotions come through you, you can work your way towards enlightenment, work your way towards your life vision, and cultivate those character traits that you had mentioned and that you're putting in your life vision. So I think that's a beautiful passage. I want to share that.
Beautiful stuff. So we have this one, how to let go, kind of expanding on what we already talked about. Allowance, courage, I can. So saying I can go through the experience of feeling this. You know, you have the courage to see it for what it is, to let it pass through you. And what is happening is that it runs itself out. You're detaching, like Eric is saying, after you let it pass through you. It's no longer sticking to you. It's a detached state you come to after a while. Willingness, so to experience the emotion fully, you have to have that willingness to feel it for all that's in there, without telling a story about it, without labeling it good or bad. You're allowing yourself to feel it fully. You have the courage to feel it fully. You become this all-encompassing being that are not afraid to feel anything. You know, the resistance part is when you're scared to feel it. The resistance part is when you're denying it, when you're escaping it, when you're running away from it, when you're suppressing or repressing it. Whereas this is more about bringing your consciousness, bringing your awareness into it, and then feeling it fully. It's really empowering when you practice this. Acceptance, so accepting it for what it is. You don't try to change it. And that's, I'm going to go back to, well, I actually have to go forward. Here it is. You see desire here on 125. That might be a little bit confusing. It was for me as well. Like, desire, is it bad to want something? But it's really about the energy field of craving. It should have been like craving. It should have been craving here, actually, because it's craving things to be a certain way. It's craving to change this thing. You have to change it to feel good, right? And this is resistance. This is resistance. And also you can have these things where you have like guilt about feeling fear, or craving and getting the grief to go away. You know, then you're resisting. You're not viewing and experiencing the emotion from a consciousness level that is letting go. Okay.
Yeah, and I would add to that, William, going back to that slide,
This one.
The calibrated levels of consciousness.
Yeah.
Our goal, obviously, the goal is to move up that ladder to ultimate consciousness and your life vision and fulfillment. And experiencing these emotions that are in a higher vibrational state. But that said, part of letting go is, part of the technique is feeling these other lower level emotions. So first feeling them. So I want to get into a little process of how we let go. So first of all, we don't want to just only limit ourselves to only feeling the higher emotions, right? Because then we're blocking emotions that need to be released, right? So first, how do we let go? So first, okay, we become aware of the emotional state, right? Maybe it's anger for you guys, maybe it's desire, the craving, maybe it's fear, grief, apathy, guilt, maybe it's shame, maybe it's any of those. We all experience these from time to time. We just don't want to wallow in them, like Will was mentioning, right? So the first step on the how to is become aware of the emotional state. What am I feeling right now, right? What we do in our society and in general is we distract ourselves, right? Think about it. We're on social media, or we watch TV, or we go get a drink, we go to a bar, we talk to somebody, we avoid those uncomfortable feelings, right? So the first thing is to become aware of maybe these force emotions, of these lower level vibrational states, right? And once we're aware, we feel that, okay, don't just avoid it. The second step is sit down, feel that emotion, focus on it, 1 minute to 10 minutes, right? Feel it. What's going on there? Try to understand it, uncover it. And then you ask yourself, the third step is, can I allow this feeling, right? Can I allow this feeling to come up? There's probably a lot of energy in there, a lot that needs to be released, right? We hold a lot of things as humans, right? Can I allow this feeling? That's the third step, right? You ask yourself that question. The fourth step is, could I let go of it? Could I let go now, right? Can I become aware? Can I feel it? Can I allow it? Can I let go of it? And then the fifth step is, would I let go of it? Am I willing to let go of it, right? So again, this process of letting go is not just about feeling these higher emotions. That's the goal, is to continuously feel those more. But on the other hand, we cannot block them. We have to feel them through this step-by-step process. So I will write that in the chat as well, that step-by-step process. But I wanted to add that in. Go ahead, William.
Yeah, awesome. We're gonna look into the questions a bit more later, by the way. We're doing a Q&A session at the end. So if you have some questions that come to mind, write them down or write them in the chat. We will take a look at it afterwards. So very much a metaphor that's also really good here is that your higher self, the life vision version of you, these higher states of consciousness as you see on this scale, is like the sun shining. Okay. And the clouds blocking it would then symbolize the negativity, the resistance down here, holding you back from, I mean, you want to be there enjoying the sun, right? You don't want the clouds stopping it and raining and everything. That's no fun. So you want to let go of the clouds. The clouds will dissolve when you apply this technique, and then the sun will shine through. That's how it works. There were a couple of points on the last slide. Forgiveness of yourself and others, and releasing the charge and the payoff. This is about, maybe you get something out of holding on to it. You need to release this as well, so that you don't have a reason to keep holding on to it. This is very important too. Some examples on what you can let go of: old self, this is what we're doing here, or a trait you're holding on to, like something that doesn't fit into the life vision version of you. Negative feelings, emotions, limiting beliefs. So usually there's a lot of thoughts stored in the emotion, and people try to like change their thinking. But what's really happening is that these thoughts are manifesting because they're attached to a feeling that you have in your body. And when you release the feeling and the emotion, the thoughts clear up. And in this way, you end up having more empowering beliefs, because you don't have this attachment to all of these thoughts running through your head that make you think you're not good enough or whatever. Traumatic experiences, we're not going to go deep into these, because we don't want to like open Pandora's box here. We want to just give you like this one thing with trying this technique on that one trait you wrote in the chat. But just some examples: if you went through some difficult experiences, you can actually use this technique to gradually, you know, open the dam gradually, like not so much that it overwhelms you, but use this technique a bit more and a bit more, and get that experience of it actually working, as it had for me, Eric, and many others as well. Bodily pain and tension, you will be so much more relaxed. Things will just flow. You're not going to be so clogged up anymore. Inspiration is just going to come to you. Many benefits. I'm not going to get into all of them. Low self-esteem, this can also be a thing. You will feel like it's more natural to share of your most authentic self after letting go, because you'll see that low self-esteem is just about negative feelings attached to you. You have these negative belief systems, and you're scared of standing up for yourself, setting boundaries, saying no, for instance. These things will clear up more and more as you apply this technique. Some quotes before we run through the meditation. I had the meditation before these quotes, but then I changed it, because let's just run through them. It's kind of like giving you a bit of a, so when you apply this technique for a longer time, you will come to certain realizations. And I mean, even me reading this book for like the 6th time, I'm still getting aha moments. But some of the things I realized is that you will realize that, I mean, you will get the serenity to accept the things you cannot change, and the courage to change the things you can change. And then you will also get the wisdom to know the difference. So you'll be directing your energy towards the things you actually can change, and the things you cannot change will not bother you so much. They won't get to you. They won't stick, like we were talking about. Another one is, it is better to live your own destiny imperfectly than to live an imitation of someone else's life with perfection. This one hits home for me. Like, this one hits deep for me right now, because I mean, how often do we fall into, like, I really like, think about this, your life vision, how much is it affected by other people? I really hope 0%, honestly, 0%. I really hope that. But taking an honest look at yourself, is it affected in some level by social norms, your parents' expectations, your friends' expectations, what other people want for you? Think about that. It is so much better to live your own destiny imperfectly than to try to live somebody else's destiny and living it perfectly, right? So think about that. What is important to you? We're going to hit home some questions here. Like, you're writing a book. You're writing the book of your life right now. What do you want to be in there? Make it an awesome book. make it a book that is worth reading. Don't try to copy paste from somebody else's book. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. Okay. One more. This is more for the second part of it though, but be the change you wish to see in the world. You will understand that through letting go, it becomes just such a natural thing to want to be that change you want to see in the world. You're not going to hold resistance to being that change anymore. It's going to come more out from you, so that inspiration will propel you to share what you have to share, to give your gift to the world, whatever that means to you, whatever that means to you. I think the next one is, here we go. Eric, do you want to add anything before we jump into the meditation?
No. Well said. Go ahead.
Nice. Okay. This one is, I see we're at 43. I'm going to try to make it about 10 minutes. Sit back, relax, enjoy. I hope the audio works out well. Let's see.
Yeah, and I'll also say we will go through some questions after this, so everybody can share their experience Q&A afterwards as well. So
yes, beautiful. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you hear the audio from the video when I started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you on a journey, and you will add in your own things in this. So it's about you putting your own touch to it. So I'm leaving a lot of things open for you, but I'm just guiding you through it so that you can get to answering these questions for yourself and also applying that technique. So I'm going to give you a bit of a guided visualization or release 2-in-1, 2 for the price of 1. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you hear the voice, the sound. Here we go. Can you hear this?
not yet.
You don't hear it?
Do not hear it.
Not hearing it yet.
You don't hear the sound?
Nope.
Could you not hear the sound?
Yeah, we cannot hear it right now. Let me see if I can find it. Remove all.
I think I'll have to try to do it again, and then I'll share it and make sure I do it with the sound, because maybe it didn't come. Yeah, there you go. Share sound. I need to keep this one on. Yeah, good thing I actually checked it. But just take the time to relax yourself in the meantime. I think this is gonna work pretty soon. Can you hear it now?
Good.
Now you hear it? Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully everything is running smoothly. So sit back, relax, find a comfortable position. You can close your eyes when you feel ready for it. And just take the time to sink into the present moment. Feel whatever's in your body. Bring yourself into the now. Feel whatever you're feeling. Take a moment to take a few deep breaths. So breathe in deeply into your belly, and then breathe out. And breathe in, breathe out. And with every breath in and out, you feel yourself relaxing more and more as you listen to the sound of the music and my voice. Now, with your eyes closed, I want you to visualize yourself standing at the entrance of a building. with a mountain behind it. Now this building is shaped a bit like a museum, and you are the only person who has access to this building because it's your building. It's a building that represents your life and the process of writing your life. As you enter the front door, you see a long tunnel, a long hallway. You feel comfortable here. You feel safe here. It's stretching out really wide, and you can see a light at the end of it. This hallway represents the timeline of your life. In the beginning, you have the moment of your birth. Eventually, you have the moment where you're at right now. And then after this, other chapters that aren't written yet. But you begin at the beginning, at the moment where you were born, represented as an image on either side of this hallway. It can also be a moving image, like a quick movie. And as you step into this hallway, there is a moving floor, just like in those airports, to make you walk faster. Thus, you don't need to walk. You can just let this moving floor move you along. And as you step into it, you pass the moment that represents, the picture that represents your birth. From here, I want you to move forward, where you see the canvas on each side, the pictures or the movies representing the most important moments in your life. The phases of your life you went through, a picture representing the most important points in your life that shaped you into the person you are today. Now add in those pictures on either side as you move forward. What were the important moments in your childhood? What were the important moments in your teen years? What were the important moments? Think about it. Fill in those pictures. Maybe you will fill in some birthdays, some happy moments, moments that helped shape you into the person you are today. As you're moving forward, you're getting closer and closer to where you are today. Seeing that the pictures on each side are finished. And then when you get up to the moment of the present moment of your life, you see that there's a canvas, a picture, or a movie that is in the process of being created. Now think about you standing on this electric floor, moving you forward. Think about that trait that you wanted to let go of. Maybe think of it as you having a backpack on with some weight in it, and you don't really need to bring it forward with you. Feel whatever is in that trait, whatever it brings up in you, how it feels in your body. To apply the letting go technique to that trait. How does it feel to be leaving this trait behind as you're gonna move forward in your life? What kind of feelings does it rise in you? What are the sensations that it arises in you, in your body? Feel that now fully. Allow that fully to be experienced by you. And apply the letting go technique to this. As you're letting go of this, I want you to fast forward on this electric floor 1 month into the future. See that picture of you having accomplished your monthly goal. Move forward into the next 3 months and see yourself having accomplished your quarterly goal. See yourself move into the next year of your life and see yourself having accomplished your yearly goal. And as you're moving forward, you're letting go and leaving behind things you don't need to bring with you. Step more fully into this life vision version of you. See yourself 2 years into the future, becoming more of the life vision version of you. 3 years, 4 years. See yourself moving forward more and more into that version of you. And as you're moving forward, see a person in front of you. As you get closer, you can see that this person is you. But it looks like a happier version of you. This person has a certain smile to their face. This person has that expression to their face. The kind of expression you would have once you accomplished your life vision. You're now moving up to that person. You're smiling to each other, shaking each other's hands. Meeting this person arises within you a feeling of curiosity. You want to take the opportunity to ask this person a few questions. What kind of advice is this person giving you? What is this person saying to you? Play out the conversation and let the wisdom of the life vision you be shared with the now version of you. For a moment, think about what kind of traits, or just one trait, does this life vision version of you have that you don't have right now, you wish to integrate. It can be the trait you wrote in the beginning. Think about you with that trait. And as you see yourself integrating this trait or those traits, you can come back into the room you're sitting in. Bring your awareness back to your body, to what you're feeling, to where you're at in the room you're in. And take that newfound sense of clarity and empowerment with you as you open your eyes and come out of the meditation. All right. You can stretch a little if you want.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Yeah. There you go, guys. On the Q&A, you can share a little bit of what you experienced. We'd
Yeah,
love to hear.
have you guys raise a hand, and you can come on and speak, share your experience, or if you have a question, welcome to ask that as well. Let's just have people raise their hands in the reactions tab down there.
Well, while people are hopefully queuing up their questions, maybe I'll get the ball rolling with you guys. First of all, great job. Really encourage people to ask questions, because I think there's a lot of really cool content here that, to me, generated a lot of questions. So maybe I'll just start with one. You know, it's my belief that I think what prevents so many people from living extraordinary lives is really the fear of feeling the pain of negative emotions. It's like people will go to great lengths to avoid them, right? And the ability to, I think the ability to feel any emotion is really the ability to be able to do anything. So it's one of the most important skills you can possibly have. What I hear a lot of times is that people are so trained to resist and avoid their emotions that when they actually have the awareness to sit down and try to figure it out in their minds, they really struggle with it. You know, Eric, your first point here, becoming aware of the emotions, and then number two, sitting with the emotion. It's very hard for a lot of people to do.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you have for people that do struggle with resisting and escaping their emotions, who want to sort of utilize the courage to sit down maybe for the first time and really face some of that and process it? What kind of advice do you guys have for people who struggle with that to take those first steps?
Yeah, I'll go first, William, if that's all right.
Yeah, go.
But I would say the first thing is that that happens to everybody. I think that we, like you said, we hold in a lot of emotions, negative emotions, and we don't necessarily deal with them. I would say just take it one baby step at a time, just 1% at a time. That doesn't mean that you have to sit with a negative emotion for an hour or 30 minutes and you have to really feel the pain, and you don't have to go all in and dive all in. Just do it for a minute. Just do it for 30 seconds. What does it feel like? You know, what wisdom comes up from that? You know, just start with baby steps, because, you know, if you're just taking baby steps towards letting go, then you're on the path. And as long as we're on the path, then we're doing what we need to do to achieve our life vision, or to let go of some of these negative emotions and heal ourselves. So that's what I would say. Just start small. Start with a minute of focusing, of feeling that emotion, and then start to maybe unpack it a little bit and see where that's coming from, and start with that. So
yeah, great. Well, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I can say, I mean, it's a little tricky to cover everything in this 1 hour, but definitely buy the book. If you want to dive deeper, you can also reach out to us on the Lifebook platform, and we'll be happy to assist you more with this process. It's definitely, like I said, with a dam holding the water metaphor. You don't want to rip it apart all at once. You want to take it gradually, and even identifying your emotions. I saw this question here, or this comment here, that we need to learn to identify our emotions in the first place. That's definitely the first step here, identifying and bringing awareness to what you're actually feeling. This is the first step. So how do you do that? Well, you bring more of an awareness into your sensations in your body. You need to feel what's going on there. You need to embrace it. And it doesn't, I said don't label it. This is important too. You're not labeling it. You're just letting it be there. I see a raised hand. Should we
Yeah, Ramona, if you could unmute yourself, please.
Am I the only one who raised my hand?
So far.
Silly me. So a couple of things have come up for me. You guys, I'm going to be 65 years old this summer, and I've been doing transformational work since the 80s. And a lot of this stuff isn't new to me, but it's nice to be reminded, and I appreciate your guys. And Mark, the sensational work that you've done, I, applaud you for the amount of time that you put into this work all this month. So congratulations to the quality of programming that you provided for us, and I'm very thankful for that. But a couple of things came to mind as I was listening, because I'm working, I'm listening, and one is that for anybody on this call that thinks that this is foolishness, blah to you. And the reason I say that is because the reason why this work is being presented today, it was decades ago when Olympians, would talk about how they became successful, and how that was these visualizations that they were able to do, and they won. And, besides putting in the hard work, they had to do that as well. And they were coached into doing that somehow. I don't know who eventually, who originally created all of this, but it goes back, decades. And so it's very powerful, and it's worth letting go, buying your book. I'm certainly going to look into that as well. The other thing is I'm on this precipice right now of stepping into my future self. And sometimes I find myself as dedicated as I am, as self-disciplined as I am, and as a workaholic as I am, sometimes I take breaks or feel like I put time aside when I should be doing something else. And it didn't occur to me until today when you talked about becoming aware of the emotions. You said something about when you feel like you need to go out for a drink, when you feel like you want to call a friend, when you feel like you need something to eat, all these little things that tend to take your time away from doing something else. And I I'm writing a couple of books right now, and I made an excuse to the book writing accountability group I am. I said, sometimes I just have to transition from one task to another. I need to take some time out, and then I get stuck in the timeout, and then I can't get out of the timeout. And what works for us, and sometimes we can't always identify what those feelings are. So what we encourage, and one of the programs I put on in March for Emotional Month is journaling. So that if any of us have problems really identifying what those emotions are, to sit down, put your butt in a seat, get out a pen and paper or your computer, and just write about what you're feeling at the time. And if you write anywhere from 3 to 7 minutes, you're going to get something of value. And so, you were asking about how Mark had brought up the question about how to deal with that. And one of the things you said was, of course, to get in touch with these feelings and don't judge them, don't label them, just accept them, be with them. But sometimes you can't identify what those feelings are. So sometimes journaling will help, with that. It tends to reveal truths that we aren't willing to personally identify. But definitely, next time I want to call a friend, want to take a break and watch television, or want to go to the refrigerator to get something to eat, I'm going to look at becoming aware of the emotions, sit with this emotion for 1 to 10 minutes, ask myself, can I allow this feeling? And could I let go? And would I let this go? I haven't done that process ever before, and I'm very appreciative of having this to work with now. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, thank you, Ramona, for sharing.
Awesome. Glad we could help.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. We should throw up the last few slides here just to wrap it up.
Yeah, if anybody has a question, don't be afraid to raise your hand. If there's any more questions.
Yeah.
Both of us.
Anyone else, raise your hand if there's
So,
anything.
but
We do have a hand raised. Do you guys want to take that now or wait to go through your slides?
yeah, let's take it. Let's take it now.
Okay. Hi,
Sure,
Gatson.
I'll stop sharing.
If you could please unmute yourself as well.
Hi, Mark, and thank you, Eric and William. Sorry, I came, the exercise was quite very, very useful. You were taking me back to my childhood days and kind of a transit. And more importantly for me is kind of the stage I am now in life in terms of transition. It kind of gave me a kind of a feeling, you know, a kind of a feeling that questions coming, are you sure you want to chain out all those things you've been doing all this while and want to move? Where do you want to go? A lot of questions coming to me during that period. But it gave me a relief, I must confess. It also gave me a relief into what I've drawn up from my life vision. Give me a confirmation of what I've drawn up and affirmation that I could still move forward. Like I said, I'm in my voluntary retirement phase. I just started. So when I was listening to Ramona, I felt, oh, that's quite interesting. I will learn a lot from that, you know, from people like her. But one thing I would like to know, Mark and of course Eric and William, is what advice will you give to somebody like me who is in the transition phase of you've been in service for so many years, you just temporarily given your retirement, and you're transiting to another phase of life, and you feel you have so much to do. You have so much to do in terms of your expectations about life. What kind of advice will you give to somebody? I mean, in this kind of letting go who you have been, because letting go who I have been is a kind of a complex. Who am I? Where I was and so on. So but now, I want to now be what I want to be. So what kind of advice will you give to somebody like me? Thank you.
When do you guys want to give that a shot?
I have one thing that comes to mind. Yeah.
Do you want to go, William?
I can just share this one thing. It's very much like peeling away the layers of the onion, I would say, in my experience, that you start with the outer layers and then you get more and more to the core. So this is what I would say. Eric, what do you want to say? Yeah.
You know, that's a kind of a tough question to see where you were at in your life, but I would say that you know, whenever you're making a transition, it's natural to have obstacles come up. It's natural. It's natural to feel like, to have these thoughts come in, like, oh my gosh, what if this happens? What if that happens? Are you really going to want to change this? And that's just part of a transitional process. It is what it is. And that's part of our subconscious keeping us safe in a place that we're comfortable. And there's a purpose for that, right? The subconscious is keeping us safe. And so when we're making a transition, most of the time, that's the first thing that comes up.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, you can just mute. No worries.
I can't because I'm like computer. I'm sorry.
Oh, if you just mute.
Can you mute me?
All right, Eric and Will, you can unmute yourselves again.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, Eric, were you done? Yeah,
No
It's all
worries.
good.
add some more.
So I would just say, was it Godson? That's natural to feel that. And like I mentioned before, the first step, we have our life vision, right? We have this thing, we have so much we want to do, and that's beautiful. And we need to follow that. We need to just take one step, like Alex talks about all the time, just show up and take one step. And that's all you need to do. So just take one step each day. It doesn't have to be 10 steps. You're going to feel that resisting, but it's not necessarily for a bad reason. Your subconscious is just keeping you safe. It's part of the process. You have to break through that by just taking one step at a time, going towards your life vision, just one day at a time. You don't have to tackle a mountain. You don't have to figure out all the solutions in one day. You just have to take one step towards that life vision, because Godson, that's going to make you happy, right? That's going to make you more fulfilled, right? Breaking away and making that transition. So just take the first step and take the next step after that. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
can I add something to that, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love transition. It's a great topic, and I invite you to change the way you think about it. It's opportunity, it's freedom.
Yes.
Take the elements of your previous, whatever it was, life with you. The parts that you want and the parts that you don't want to take with you, leave behind.
Mhm.
You don't have to start something entirely new. Make it more of it's what a transition is, right?
Mhm.
Keep what you want and incorporate the new that you desire, right?
Mhm.
I'm in a similar situation. I stopped working a couple of years ago. Rather than treat it like a big middle class crisis event, focused on the positive. For me, it's an opportunity now to immerse more into wisdom, try to contribute more, help people, whatever it is for you that your heart desires, focus on that. It's your opportunity right now.
Absolutely. Beautiful.
Yeah, and have courage in that for sure.
Mhm.
Have the faith in that it's the right thing for you right now, and that it will lead to something better for sure. And also use it as an opportunity, like Mark is saying. Use it an opportunity to become more of who you truly want to be, and also an opportunity to apply what you learned today, which is the letting go technique of letting go of who you've been, so that you can step more into this person you want to be. I see you unmuted yourself. Did you want to say something?
I just want to thank you all. I think it's quite helpful to me, and I must say that the quote, the Serenity quote, prayer has always been right from childhood my quote. So that has been quite also very helpful to me. So thank you guys. Thank you all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Thank you, man.
Godson?
I'm calling from Nigeria.
Nigeria. That's amazing.
Cool.
Awesome. I taught in school in Botswana. So I
Oh,
spent
that's lovely. You're always welcome. Thank you.
a little bit of time in Africa. So that's cool.
Hey, Gareth, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you had your hand raised. Do you want to re-raise it, or are you good? You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed today's event, and I just wanted to throw in that the letting go process I found a little easier once you accept that what you're letting go of was not truth or were not true, usually anyway. So for me, identifying things that I was fearful of, and then seeing them for what they really were, it became easier to let it go because it wasn't real in the first place. So we're all trying to get down to that authentic self, and letting go is part of the process. And I think these guys, did a great job today, helping us all remember what to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gareth. Yeah, thank you. Should we just throw up these last few slides
Go for
before
it.
we
Yeah.
run off and call it a day? Just about, do you see my screen now?
Yes.
Just about after you've done a letting go session, think about what you want to fill up with. So just some examples here. empowerment, freedom, who you want to be, serenity, peace, courage, love, clarity, positive manifestations, and point of attraction. Make sure you step into a positive vibration and energy after you've done a letting go session, so that it doesn't like stay with you, but that you're actually raising your level of consciousness. There were a few questions here. These are pretty deep. We don't have the time to like dive really into them.
Yeah.
But kind of a recap, bringing like the full circle back to Eric. Do you want to say anything about this?
Oh, sure. I mean, I have one last question to leave everybody with. But do you have anything left to say?
Oh, I'm good. They can read these questions and maybe like they start the thought process of that. Like that's just after, that is after the meditation and the whole session, like just going deeper on getting that clarity on what that trait is that you want to integrate and who you are at your life vision version and what kind of legacy you want to leave, so that you have that with you as you're going forward. Also making that purpose really strong. The purpose of sharing this is to make that purpose so strong for you, so that you stick with this process even when the going might get a little tougher. So I think that's very important, that you go deep on the purpose behind doing this and knowing exactly what those traits are and what you're really looking to integrate into your life to step more into that life vision version of you. Yeah.
Awesome. So I would say my last question for everybody, this is one of my favorite that I say on my podcast, but so it's a hypothetical question. So fast forward to the end of your life. You are sitting on your deathbed, or maybe you know you're going to die in the next couple hours, and you're looking back at your life and you're going, you know what? It's okay to die now. I'm at peace. I can go into whatever's next. I can go into the divine. I can go become my fullest self, come out of the small fitting shoe that we're living in, whatever you want to call it. I am at peace with death. What would the three character traits specifically that you lived in your life be, that you would then feel like, you know what? It's okay to die now. What would those three character traits be for you? You know, could be self-discipline, could be many different character traits. So what would those three character traits be for you?
Yeah, feel free to write it in the chat, and thank you for sharing, Eric. And I want to thank Mark for helping us out with this. Thank you, Eric, for collaborating with me on this one, and thank everyone for participating. We have this last, this is the second last slide, actually, just like a Q&A slide from a few of trips up here, some Northern Lights, and this on the left is from a couloir that we did on one of the trips. Crazy stuff. So write it in the chat if you have any more questions, or raise your hand if you want to share this last slide. Yeah, passionate, energetic, and caring. Nice.
Samantha.
Yeah.
Hey, is that Santa's workshop I see on the other side of that lake?
Santa's workshop. Yeah, for sure.
Close to it.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite islands in the background there. Yeah, it's a really cool place out there. Let me see if I can come to the last slide. This one. Just a few contact info here. Like, you can follow us on Instagram. You can check out Eric's podcast. I was in one of the episodes. It was about cultivating self-awareness to pull yourself out of your lowest moments in life. Yeah, and you can reach out to us. We're happy to help. Like, you write us a message in Lifebook or on Instagram. You got our names here so that you could reach out to us. We're happy to help if it's helpful. Like, we do coaching as well, so we can see if it's a good fit. If it's a win-win, then we could take it further. Or even if you just want some questions answered, or that's good to just talk a bit. and we see how that works, of course. And just some kind of of course, first in the beginning, just a free consultation call, whatever you want to call it, just to guide you along the way, get you going with this, answer some questions if you didn't get them answered, and we see where we could take it from there, if that's enough to answer those questions you had and to get you going with this and feel confident in applying this. Yeah, Eric, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would just say this is my tribe, and Mind Valley is my tribe. So I would love to connect with any of you. So please, you can find me on Instagram, full_potential_living. That's my Instagram name. My podcast is now on Apple, Spotify. It's on Google Podcasts, just about every platform now. Spotify and Apple are usually the big ones people listen to. But on the Lifebook app, I would love to connect with any of you guys, as you're part of my tribe. So feel free to reach out, follow me on Instagram, message me, whatever. Let's connect, because, I love to connect with like-minded people. So, yep.
Yeah, and I just want to thank both of you guys. You really nailed it, in my opinion. Great topic.
Thank you.
You guys put a very fresh and kind of original take on the idea of not only accepting emotion, but living with it, right? And using it as a basis for growth. Ironically, in my view, it's something a couple of young male guys, your ability to do that kind of breaks the stereotype too, which I also love. Guys need this stuff as much as women, if not more. So I really appreciate you guys putting this together. Great job. And yeah, thanks for volunteering your knowledge here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you.
For your wisdom as well. And I think somebody asked for some contact stuff, so I'm just going to throw it in the chat. And I think maybe Gareth had one more thing to say, but I'm going to throw that in the chat real quick. Ramona.
He's just a chronic hand raiser.
That's just good.
Go ahead.
All right. Are we all set?
Sorry, I'm going to throw that in the chat real quick. This is my Instagram. If you guys want to listen to our podcast, let me just pull that up. I know somebody was asking for contact info, so I will.
This is Ramona speaking. Yeah, if you could put some of this information into, along with the recording, Mark, it would be very, very.
Yeah, as always, the recording and the presentation will be posted. I don't know, within the next 8 hours or so, it should be in there.
I want to say I really appreciate this opportunity to hear, as Mark said, your youthfulness. Like I said, I'm going to be 65 this summer, and it's really great to hear the future. Our world is in good hands, And the other thing I wanted to do is apologize, because my electronic devices are synced. When the phone call came in, the Zoom shrunk and covered the button for me to decline or receive the call. So I didn't have any activity. I couldn't access anything. So I'm embarrassed about that. So I just want to ask your forgiveness for that.
Well, I was the omnipotent one with the. I was the omnipotent one.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
That's a good one.
Well,
All right, take care now.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Yeah, no worries about that.
That's Letting Go. That's an Amazon link there if anybody wants to buy the book. So it's an amazing book.
Yeah, really good. And thank you guys for being on. You're making such a good investment with your time and energy, taking time to learn this. You're going to have so many benefits in your life applying this, like incorporate it into your daily routine in some way. Whenever something comes up, use this technique for everything it's worth. It's going to help you so much. I'm so happy I encountered this when I'm still young, So this is so powerful, so
I
powerful.
also have to say, Ramona, somebody's got to take the lead. Somebody's got to lead us towards a better world, and I'll do it. I'm ready. Let's go. Me and
Full
Willie.
potential living.
Somebody's got to lead us to a better life. So to a better world. So I'll take the reins. We will take the reins.
That's awesome,
Happy to
guys.
do that.
Great way to sew this one up. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, Eric, for being on with me as well and contributing, and everyone. Yeah, so happy for this. Okay. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.